we just kind of let Eddie Murphy's accent slide because it's a comedy and the movie was hilarious. It's fun. But Wesley Snipes is so good in this. You don't know how bad these African accents are in this until he comes in and does his.
Oh, I knew.
I mean, I knew, but I didn't know how bad.
Sure.
Arsenio Hall don't even try.
No.
Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. People have been wanting a Coming to America sequel for years.
For years, 30 years.
Some people could say decades even at this point. And I don't know, man. I don't know. This is not official, but we had somewhat of a sequel at one time. Back in the day. This came out, I forgot when this came out. It was a few years ago, but they said, you know what, we're trying our best. I mean, you know, it's not exactly a movie. It's not exactly what you asked for, but it is coming to America.
I am minding my business. What I'm trying to say is I have been planning. And
people say, fuck you, no that ain't. That is not coming to America.
I don't know how many episodes this ran, but I remember watching at least the pilot, if not the first two.
And that's all you saw.
Yeah.
And did you see that shit on TV?
Yes.
Wow, you were like one of three people.
Yes, I saw it on TV.
Yeah. Wow, man, you were that guy. I think they reported one person watched the pilot. That's you. Oh my God, you're the guy.
The guy.
I gotta get your autograph, man. You're the guy that watched the Coming to America pilot with Tommy Davidson, aka not Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
I think how one goes about making money. Where did you get the money to buy a book? A man gave it to me.
That's how you know that shit is old.
Wow.
When black people actually like talking about Donald Trump.
They did up until he became president.
You know, some people still do.
Yeah.
But not like this, where
Not
they
like
put him
that.
on the show. People, that's the Coming to America pilot.
And the thing I remember about it, Tommy Davidson playing that character, is that he would just flip, just back and forth, just way too much energy.
And people talking about, I know you just didn't pick two random black dudes to be in Coming to America.
Oh, no, the other guy was in the movie.
Yeah, but that is not
I
Eddie
know,
Murphy.
I know, it's not Eddie Murphy,
and that's not Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me, look, you just can't take any two black dudes and put them in Coming to America and call it Coming to America.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's some bold shit, man. Coming to America is Eddie Murphy, mainly Eddie Murphy, but Arsenio Hall too.
Yeah, it's the two of them. It's like when, you know, you do Ghostbusters, but you don't have that crew there. It's like, yeah, but the concept, it's like, no. People are not there for the concept.
I don't want to hear
it's
this
for
shit.
those guys.
It's for them. That's the only reason why shit worked. That movie wasn't all that great.
No.
It was just those guys had a really good chemistry working together, and it was just lightning in a bottle at that time. And that's kind of what people are saying about Coming to America, or Coming to America 2. They're saying, you know,
Coming to America.
Coming to numero dos America. They're saying, man, don't know about this. Everybody's hyped for it. Everybody wanted it. Oh shit, let me cut that down right there. Don't talk yet, Eddie Murphy. People talking about, man, I was hyped for this, been begging for it, been wanting it, but just don't know, man. You know, there's a part of me that says that I want it, give it to me. I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to risk it. But there's another part of me that's saying, man, that was magic that worked at that one time. Don't know if that needs to be attempted to be replicated. Just don't know.
There were certain elements in the air that made a lot of things work then. I mean, and we see this with other franchises as well.
Yeah.
That, you know, those elements just don't exist anymore.
But at the same time, there are newer elements that can make this movie relevant again. Things that they can comment on.
Yep.
But whatever you do, don't you do a goddamn thing unless you got Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. Do we understand? Do not get Kevin Hart and Anthony Anderson or some shit together. No, don't do that.
Whoa.
No, we don't know. Nobody wants to see that shit. Don't even get Kevin Hart and The Rock to do this. though.
Right.
No one wants to hear that shit. Get Eddie Murphy or Arsenio Hall. And that is exactly what we have here with coming number 2, America. Here, Prince Akeem brings his family of daughters, which puts him in quite the predicament, since he needs a son for the heir to the throne. If he doesn't find one, then he'll be forced, you hear me, to have his oldest daughter give her hand in marriage to his enemy, played by Wesley Snipes.
Otherwise, he'll be killed.
And that means he'll just be killed. There you go. General Izzy over there. He had another bill. Oh, that other billboard is going to soon say, I will kill you again. He said, well, that's a son, but hey, he's still a bastard, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, hey, there's one thing about having a bastard son is that that don't sound like Prince material right there.
No.
You know, can you take a bastard from Queens?
He might have to go to charm school for a bit.
Yeah, or we might have to feed his ass to the lions. Can a bastard, not a dude, not a homie, not a random Negro, can a bastard from Queens actually be trained to be Prince material? Well, that's what we're going to find out. And most importantly, can that make for a good movie? As far as a sequel goes to one of the biggest classics out there, cult classics, which some people say, man, ain't no cult in there. That's a goddamn classic, fool. Don't you ever say that word cult around me again. I'll knock the fuck out of you say that again. To the classic, 1998, Coming to America. Well, that's what we're going to do right now with our review. Find this out with our review of this film. We're going to watch the trailer.
My kingdom, but it's impressive.
That's right. Ooh.
There you go.
Let me hear you say, hey, ho.
Hey, ho.
No, don't do that. That's his mother.
Oh, don't you say that.
No, not to his mother.
Y'all are saying, man, I cannot wait to see the further adventures of Prince Akeem.
Mighty is he.
And Arsenio Hall, too. Can't wait to see the further adventures of Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall in the hijinks as they try to fit into New York. You're like, woo, boy, I can't wait for the gentrification and gay jokes to come in. You know, listen, I can say this. I'm happy to say this. This is not complete rehash of the first movie, Coming to America. There's a small part of that, but the whole movie's not where they come back to Queens, New York, and they're just kind of like, oh my God, look at this. You know, I don't know what voice that was. That was not Akeem. That was the Barbers.
That was the Barbers. And they've been there, so they've seen it all.
And they've seen everything.
Yeah.
Let me try it again. Oh my God, look at this. Drones everywhere. You know, they're not doing that where they come by. Mm-hmm. And that's not what the joke is based on. I would even say that what's probably going to throw people off, man, is that I don't know if you see this the same way, because this is an observation I made, and I might just be looking at this wrong, but I don't really think that this is coming across as Eddie Murphy's film, man. This might throw some people off to know that this is not centered on him and Arsenio Hall. This is not really his movie. This is more of an ensemble piece. This is more in the vein of Meet the Parents or Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, those kind of things. There are a lot of characters here, which means Eddie Murphy has to pull back as his daughters and his son that he just discovered take over. And, but the thing that I tell you, what I did admire with Eddie Murphy is that, because there's a lot of comedians in here. So what he did was he pulled back and he gave a lot of people the spotlight to shine, whether to be funny or whether to expand on the stories of new characters that are introduced. Unfortunately, it's still a formula. And it's the formula. The first one is the formula that got by on personalities. It was Eddie Murphy. And I don't think that they have, man, there's some exceptions here. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone here has the personality of Eddie Murphy or Arsenio Hall that carries this film like the first one, like was carried by Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, whether they were the prince and his aide coming from Zamunda or whatever, or the several characters that they played. Mm-hmm. They just carried that movie a lot, man. And the writers at the time, and even the director, John Landis. It was something about John Landis and Eddie Murphy together that really they jived with this humor, man, that really was unique for them.
It's interesting how, Eddie Murphy talks about how he gave John Landis the job because he felt sorry for him and how he was a terrible person. He almost beat him up. And there's all kinds of stories about John Landis, like him being a hack. But he directed some really funny comedies. And especially when he worked with Eddie Murphy.
John Landis, in case y'all don't know, John Landis, it means the two that come to mind are Coming to America and what he did with Trading Places.
Trading Places, yeah.
And those two working together, man.
That's some of Eddie Murphy's funniest movies.
Yes. So just in case you're wondering how much of an influence John Landis might have had over Eddie Murphy when they were working together over movies, like I'm not discounting Eddie Murphy.
Oh no, not at all. Eddie Murphy was a super talent. I mean, I'm only praising John Landis in that he had also done Blues Brothers and National Lampoon and some other things.
Yeah,
the guy, whatever you say about him personally, he knew comedy.
You had one guy who was an excellent comedian at that time and was the hottest star at that time.
Yeah.
You had another guy that was excellent with comedy behind the camera.
Yeah.
And if you want to know, this is just me. I'm not saying that this is for sure, but think about what Eddie Murphy was doing with Trading Places and Coming to America, especially Coming to America, where Eddie Murphy was playing different characters. Now, see the reception that he did with another movie that was sort of like Coming to America, where they tried to replicate something similar.
The world's last vampire is about to encounter something.
The world's last black vampire, by the way. I'm sure there's other white vampires out there.
We're not counting
more terrifying than himself. Brooklyn.
Him looking like a pimp named Slickback.
He looks like Nick Ashford from Ashford and Simpson.
He sure does. Or Skinny Barry White or something.
Got that black mullet going on.
A pimp named Slickback. You got to say the whole name. Now, he tried to do the same thing with that where he's playing different characters.
Oh, I never saw that movie.
Yeah, he played at least I know one different character in there. This was a comedy. Right. But it was a horror comedy. And I admire it for what Wes Craven tried to do. Wes Craven was a director there. And they tried to do something similar that they did with, except there was a hard twist that they did with Coming to America. Okay. And it's like, man, I just didn't work as well. Right. So it was just something about, man, that's what I'm saying about talents coming in at the right time between Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, and John Landis, and all of the other people they had working with. All the other
people, yeah.
It's just I'm sorry. This ain't got a chance against that unless you really, really, really have something special before you go in.
Yes, like you do an unexpected twist on the formula, or you bring in other heavyweight comedians to take up the slack.
There's so much commentary on like culture at the time that you can't do here that everybody hasn't done. They were look, everybody was laughing about it, but Coming to America was one of the first people to come out and say, like, hey, look, y'all, I'm sorry, but that fucking hairstyle is fucked up. They're like, what the fuck are these Americans doing to that hair?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might have been like close to being on its way out, but that killed the Jerry curl industry. If you had a Jerry curl after that movie, you got laughed at.
The Jerry curl was almost out the door, and Coming to America said, get over here. Grabbed you by them curls, and you didn't slip away, man. You thought that juice was going to let you slide, but it didn't. You're right, it was almost out. And that's when they said, nah, man, y'all just don't know.
No, it's get out and stay out.
Yeah.
through a glass window like Axel Foley.
The funniest stuff is the funniest stuff in here are the warm leftovers from 30 years ago.
This movie trades a lot on nostalgia.
It does.
I mean, it's a full-on nostalgia show. And you go, well, is that all of it? No. Except that when it's not, it's kind of flat. By kind of flat, I mean a lot flat. With the first movie, because I rewatched it recently, like getting geared up for this, and I was like, man, even though all of it's good and memorable, the funniest stuff happens when they're in Queens, which is 90% of the movie. Here's the opposite, where 90% of the movie is in Zamunda, but it's still that ratio where the funniest stuff happens in Queens. And it's only in the earliest part.
The stuff that really had me just laughing out loud, I mean, I'm talking about for a good minute, man. It was stuff from 30 years ago. I laughed at those barbers.
Yeah, the barbers are funny.
I was like, man, why don't you make a movie with them?
I know.
the barbers in the movie, to me, they are still the funniest things, man.
It is so good to see you.
Well, I be damn.
Just over the line now. We won't be talking that kind of shit about the hungry babies. You're going to have to get out of my chair.
I laugh. My wife laughs so hard at that. And what's so funny about it? I mean, listen. Half the joke is that these fools, they haven't aged. You know that really at all. It's like when I say they haven't aged, these motherfuckers are supposed to be dead.
They should be dead, but I can see how even in the makeup, it's like they've aged them some.
They aged them a little, but they should be dead.
Yeah.
And they don't explain how they're still alive. As far as I'm concerned, that barbershop is like a portal that just preserves them.
Right.
And
it's all that Barbasol.
And they're still eating from the same place.
Same plates.
Still eating them
Got it
plates
from
of
church.
greens and that macaroni. They still ordering from the soul food place that they were ordering from 30 years ago. Glad to know they're still in business. You know, that is, man. And the reason why is because even in the first movie, man, those barbers felt real.
They did. It's one of those things when it got to that, you're like, I know this.
Yeah.
This is a great commentary on what I had to live through.
Shit, the chat is saying Negroes is y'all. What are you talking about? The only thing y'all ain't doing is cutting hair. Why don't y'all start a barbershop?
And we keep aging.
Yeah, and there's Chris Herman right there. Chris Beck.
Goddamn right. I look good.
Put him in focus. All right. Those dudes are always funny. And man, they said something in this movie, they are hilarious, man. There is one part where I forgot the barber that Eddie Murphy plays. He said something that had me laughing for a good minute. He came in and Prince Akeem didn't even do anything. He just walked in and said, "I need your help." And he said, "What you need, idiot? What he
Idiot, I mean.
Idiot, I mean."
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Damn. I mean, some of these are funny, but that's just mean.
Hey, what's up, idiot? I mean, it's like he didn't fucking do anything. He just walked in.
Just walked in. Yeah.
With the new characters, the exception for not standing out and being memorable, I will say, and you know who it is, Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes. Because that's the thing watching it. It's like, man, Eddie Murphy, he's still bringing the same old energy he had before. And Arsenio, he's almost there. But Wesley Snipes is the only other character in here who's really bringing some energy.
Wesley Snipes is the new character that it's a great addition to this, man. For one, he's the only American actor in this that can properly do and convincingly do an African accent.
Your king and father should have taught you to be more polite.
Make him the next Black Panther. God damn.
I know. He's probably all like, they should have picked me in the first goddamn place.
He had a Black Panther movie that he tried to do years ago, and he must have been rehearsing his ass off because he is the only fool in here that can do a proper. And I'm not even saying it's proper, but compared to the others.
Yeah, I know. We're not African, so I'm sure there's some Africans who are like, that's not even good.
It's good compared to what everybody else does in this bitch. Boy, this movie would tell you don't let no Africans around no sticks at all. If you got an African coming to the house, just get all the broomsticks out the house. This fool was using brooms to beat people's asses back 30 years ago. Get your fucking ass.
Oh, that's right.
I like the way Arsenio like, shit, I'm using a shotgun. Fuck that broom. I'm about to kill a motherfucker. But he is great, man. I'm going to tell you something. And I'm not trying to keep harping on this, but we just kind of let Eddie Murphy's accent slide because it's a comedy and the movie was hilarious. It's fun. But Wesley Snipes is so good in this. You don't know how bad these African accents are in this until he comes in and does his.
Oh, I knew.
I mean, I knew, but I didn't know how bad.
Sure.
Arsenio Hall don't even try.
No.
James Earl Jones could not give a fuck less about doing an accent. That fool said, you know what? I'm doing Mufasa, and that's the best you gonna get.
Yeah.
He reminds you, like, before Mufasa, I was in Coming to America doing Mufasa.
Right.
He really is somebody that he seems like, along with the accent, he just is the one that embraced his role the most.
I am not one to say I had fun because that actor had fun. I was like, well, nice you had fun. I paid for this. But he is the exception.
How did you feel about the rest of the cast in the movie?
I liked Leslie Jones. I felt like her part was underwritten, and she was doing the best to kind of beef it up.
Yeah,
and it was good to see Sherry Headley again. She doesn't really come alive until later in the movie.
Is that the love?
His wife.
His wife, yeah.
His wife. And like the fact that Leslie Jones was there, somebody from America she got to bond with. I was like, this is cool. Everybody.
I gotta tell you, man, she looks better with age.
Yeah, she looks good. I mean, she was always a good-looking
Oh
woman.
yeah, she was. But I'm just saying, as being older, I'm like, damn, you look better.
Well, at first I was like, man, it's almost like they just got her made up like a mannequin. But then when they start letting her talk, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I love this girl.
Yeah,
I mean, woman.
Yeah,
she's older than me. Now and so yeah, that coming through, I liked. Everyone and everything else, I thought was flat.
Okay, you know, I'm glad to hear that you thought Leslie Jones was good in this because I like. Well, you know what? I mean, I even like the guy. I like Jermaine Fowler, man. I like him.
I don't think he's a bad person, and he's probably a good comedian in doing what he does. Mm-hmm. But so much of it with Eddie Murphy stepping back, he's like, "Hey, new generation, I'm gonna put more on you." And Eddie Murphy's a heavyweight, and this kid's more of a welterweight.
Well, he's definitely not on Eddie Murphy's level as when he was doing this movie. I liked him in the film. You know, he had me laughing kind of early on. I didn't laugh at all. Yeah. Mostly I was laughing at that goddamn wig he bought from Tyler Perry right there. I was like, man, these wigs, but why y'all doing these black folks like these wigs? I did like him, and I thought that him and Leslie Jones, when they were doing scenes together, I thought they were pretty good. He plays Lavelle, who is the bastard son of Prince Hakeem.
I've come back for my son.
Zamunda, Wakanda, Connecticut, I don't know where you from.
I don't need no handout.
Well, I was expecting all of them to pull out guns and just rob those motherfuckers. Yeah. Strap, bitch. You know, he was. I actually liked him in the movie. I really liked Leslie Jones, man. Leslie Jones, I feel like you do. Like, man, you know, she didn't have a whole lot of screen time. Let me change that. I think Eddie Murphy gave her more screen time than I thought.
Plenty of screen time. I just felt like they didn't write much for her, so it was on her to kind of come up with stuff to make funny.
Well, what she did was, they gave her screen time. They gave her a lot of screen time. Eddie Murphy gave a lot of people screen time in this. What they did, though, is that they wrote her as the typical ghetto chick. Mm-hmm. And she took that just pretty much, just that basic character. And I think that to her talent, she came in and did a lot with that, with her ad-libbing.
That's the last surprise.
It's a Mundan American aristocratic blended family.
Just like the Kardashians.
You know, as the king, you can have her killed. you really want to feed her ass to the lions too. I thought like him and her and the guy who played Lavelle had some good scenes together. I thought they were good. I think that's kind of cool that Eddie Murphy gave these people a little more spotlight because while it's not as great as it should be, for the anticipation that was there for it, I do think that it's better than just going in. Maybe, I don't know. It's a hard thing to do, to put it completely on Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall and not just do a complete rehash of what they did before.
Oh yeah, I mean, they switch it up by saying, hey, instead of us being in Queens, we're going to be in Zamunda, and we'll do things with that.
Yeah.
But it did feel like it just feels so diluted. There's so many more characters, and when I saw when we watched the trailer, my fear was, okay, it's going to be, we'll turn over to a new generation and let the kids do it. And I don't know if this is a bias. I don't think it is. It's just when I'm reading stories, watching TV shows or movies, the younger characters just aren't as interesting as the older characters because they've had so much more life experience. There's so much more you can do with them.
When you have Eddie Murphy, we talked about before how when this is not the first time that he was in a property where it was rated R, and then for the sequel, it went to PG-13. We talked about, is that going to taking away the raunchiness, is that going to have some effect on this? And a lot of people think that with Beverly Hills Cop 3, that's definitely what happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a tremendous surprise.
Code red on the spider.
Now hold on tight.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well for that movie over there. And I think taking some of the raunchiness out of this, it did make for a less memorable film. You know, like I said, man, some of the raunchiness made for some of the, and I'm not one for making something rated R or PG-13 just for the sake of it. But some of your most memorable things in the movie, you know, depending on the edge that movie had. And this movie doesn't have that kind of edge because they, for some reason, I guess because they want to make this a PG-13 movie because of the appeal to young girls. You know, taking this and making this more of a family-friendly movie, which there is some raunchiness in there as far as it could push it within a PG-13 level. But yeah, that did remove a lot of the things that would make this more quotable. And removed a lot of the things that would make this seem like, you know, they were really kind of pushing things like they did in the first movie. That's not here in this one. And that's not completely bad per se because it's definitely different. I think what they did is that taking this to a PG-13 level and focusing on the family, it made for somewhat of a sweeter film. It made for somewhat of a more emotional film.
So much of this is likable. I'd say the first third of it I found likable. I mean, it's seeing Zamunda again. You got the same costume designer from Black Panther. You have musical dance numbers and musical numbers by old hip-hop groups like Salt and Pepper and In Vogue and Morgan Freeman. And the thing I was like, there's something about this. And I was like, huh. So kind of the people from the Hicks come to stay with the people who are more advanced, but there's this whole wedding plot that's going on and a threat from outside. And I was like, I saw a better version of this movie just a few months ago, and it was The Croods. I was like, yeah, so much of this is when the Croods 2 did this, but it was constantly funny, and so it all worked. And here they abandoned that, and it's too bad. It, like you said, it makes it not so memorable.
I have to say that they did some things that were really cool. They did some things that were actually better than what I thought they would do. I tell you, it's not as predictable as I thought. It's not predictable. It's just formulaic in another way. I thought something was going to happen, and they totally went a different way. But it was still like, okay, that's nothing special. But what they did is that they had some makeup effects that they did here. I guess they were computer enhanced too, where they had they repeated the scene where they went back to the club. Well, if you listen to it's 80s as fuck too, that club. I mean, it's almost like taking a time machine back. You remember the scene in the club? They actually, and I'm not going to tell you how they do it. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but they show a lot of throwbacks to that period. And the makeup that they did for them was very impressive, man. Arsenio Hall, I mean, you could tell it's Arsenio Hall today just a little bit because the character got a little more weight on him. The character's face is a little fatter. But they did a good job at making it look like it was that scene from back in the day. But, I wish they had some other characters in here since they were going for nostalgia, because I'm not going to tell you everything they brought back. You can see some of it in the trailer. But they bring back a lot of characters, again, on that nostalgia train. And I said, well, if you're going to do that, man, I hope they bring back Eric LaSalle and Soul Glow dude. Yeah. He wasn't in there. Damn, his eyes are wet. It's almost like he put Activator on his eyes.
Well, the hair just starts to drip into your eyes.
Just dripping into his eyes, man.
Yeah, he keeps the contacts moist. 2 for 1.
And I said, man, I hope they missed an opportunity not bringing back Samuel Jackson, man. I was hoping that they would bring him back, because y'all remember him from the first movie.
Well, they do mention him.
They do they?
Yeah, they have a. Yeah.
Oh, don't say anything. I don't want to spoil.
No, I won't go into detail. Just saying they do mention him.
Take the money out, all of it. Don't stall me, fat boy. Let's go. Come on.
Come on, man. He's tweaking. They gave him crack before they shot that scene.
Yeah.
I thought,
or they had it back there like, if you nail this, you get this crack.
Come on, man. I need my medicine. But I thought that they were going to have a scene where he was going to be like owning his own franchise, his McDougal's franchise, or he was a manager working there now. And shit, Samuel Jackson said, man, I ain't the same crackhead you knew back then. You can't afford me now. Shit, motherfucker, I'm getting that Marvel money. I'm Nick Fury now. I'm a new crackhead today. They probably couldn't afford him today.
No. This is a different Eddie Murphy than we had
No, it
before,
is.
because that was a hungry Eddie Murphy who was all about that. And this is an Eddie Murphy who is a 10-child family man who likes taking it easy. And he does show up. It's not like he sleepwalks through the movie. But I also think that it's one of these things where, like, he speaks of working with John Landis and how it's tension and all this, but it made for great stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he likes working with Craig Brewer, because Craig Brewer probably rolls over and does whatever Eddie wants.
Yeah.
And so it makes for him it makes his life easier. For what we get, it's missing what it needs.
Well, they do make McDougal's come back. That's another thing. I think Eddie Murphy's good in the movie.
Yeah,
I think
he is.
Look, his accent is terrible, but he is actually good in the movie. The emotion is there. The acting is there. There's a really good scene between him and John Amos, the guy who owns the McDougal's or whatever. And they have a good scene together. So I mean, again, it's a different Eddie Murphy. It's not that Eddie Murphy that we saw back in the day, the cocky Eddie Murphy that we know of, the Eddie Murphy, like you said, was hungry, the Eddie Murphy that he was ready to just make everybody laugh. It's just kind of like, I've had my success. I want to make projects I want to make now, and I want to sit back and just let everybody else kind of have a little success too. And that's cool to see him do that. Of course, it's not as good as the first movie. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't wanting it to be when I went in, because I was like, if it is, then great. If it's not, then I'm not going to be that disappointed.
Sure.
It's like it's going to be hard to top that first movie, man. And unfortunately, they didn't do it. But I will tell you that they took a chance, they got it out there, and didn't quite get there. But I do think it's good in parts. The whole thing with with them doing the female power message is something that I don't think they really devoted enough time to, other than just kind of giving it lip service. But it still was something where it expanded the movie more than I thought it would originally. I mean, it was better than just having a repeat of Eddie Murphy doing the same fish out of water thing that he did before. I think that if you look at this, first of all, not looking for a great movie, because you're not going to get it. This feels like a studio film. It feels like something Amazon made this, and it feels like something Amazon would make and put on Amazon that you would watch.
Yeah.
And that's not a terrible thing. It's definitely not classic material. And I think that if you go in not expecting a great film, and you also expect something just different, because that's what they really are. They're just, this is nowhere near as good as the movie, the first film, but it's still, I don't think, bad. And I think that the reason why I say that, because if you go in expecting this to be the first Coming to America, then you really will hold that against it, and you might walk out liking this less. If you go in looking at this as a different movie, a PG-13 version of Coming to America that is meant for a different audience, and it's not the same film, then I think you can have a good time with this. There's some laughs in there. There's some good nostalgia in there. All of it's subpar from what they did in the first film. That's why I would give this a high rental. I laughed at some parts, laughed hard at some parts, but never walked away saying, damn, that was awesome.
Right. And for the most part, I agree with you. I never had the expectation of it being as good as the first one, because, like you said, lightning in a bottle. Except for the bright spots where Wesley Snipes pops in, and just little things here and there. It's a likable movie, but it's not a great movie by any stretch, and it's barely good. Being on a streaming service that you can watch, on a streaming service you already pay for, that's fine. But it is one where, say you never saw the first Coming to America, I don't think that this would convince you to go back and watch it. It's also a rental. I wouldn't say a high rental, just a rental.
There are some bad things in this movie that I actually give it a lower rating for lower points. It's still a high rental for me, but man, one of the things I don't like in movies, that whole I caught the conversation just in time listening around the corner shit.
I know.
Yeah, people, I hate that thing when somebody's about to, hey, let me go get so-and-so, and they hear them like, yeah, that guy's an asshole. And then the person stops, and here they do it, and and the guy, I ain't gonna say who it is, but the actor they have, he's acting way too hard. He's like, huh? He's behind a bush. Listen.
I feel like he was acting too hard, but at the same time, he naturally has big eyes. So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe it just looked like he was bugging him out.
Yeah. Goddamn. I hate that shit when they just caught the conversation just in time.
Yeah, it just seemed like the movie just kind of at some point forgot it was a comedy and turned into a chick flick.
Hey, go get your uncle. I'll be right back. I'll get him. And then they get up there and your uncle's talking about, yeah, let's kill that bitch, right? And then let's take his woman and fuck her too. And then, are they talking about me?
They're gonna kill me?
Maybe I should just ask them about that.
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna back off and go do something rash.
Yeah, they come around and, your dude's coming around the corner and like, he's about to say something. You hear, yeah, I never liked that guy anyway. I'm just using him for his money.
Right.
I got a lion scene in here that I was like, okay, y'all, I'm gonna tell you something. They got a lion scene in here. I fell asleep doing that shit.
Yeah.
They got a joke with people. They got a joke with a lion that is way too long for them to get to. This shit right here, where they just have his son. This lion joke, right? That is the longest fucking setup. Now I'm really going off. I was about to leave this shit. That is the longest setup to have a joke where it's just a dude running from a CG animal.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn you.
Yeah.
I was up there falling asleep and I wake back up and I said, y'all still setting this shit up? He's supposed to steal whiskers from a lion. And I'm sitting up there and I'm like, holy shit, are y'all still setting this joke up? I know what happens. I saw it in the trailer.
And plus, it's for a dud of a punchline.
It really is. It really is.
Okay, the minute we know that the animal is CG, which is the minute it's on screen, there's no more tension. Like, you're not scared. You're like, okay, you're going to be all right. Or,
Imagine the lion is real, okay? And then put yourself on the person who's running.
Look at that line just as blurry. Look at that. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. All right, when the lion going to chase the black dude? I know what's happening. Let's do this. God damn you.
It's Africa.
What would you rate
You gotta
this?
have that. What would I rate it? I would rate it either low matinee or rental. Like if you don't have anything to do at home and if you want to laugh a little bit and see some old nostalgia, you can go to a movie theater and watch it. If not, just rent it.
We pretty much saying, look, we're pretty much saying it's a high rental if you have Amazon Prime. if you got it, you can cut it on. That's awesome.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get Amazon Prime for this.
No, you don't need to be running from no lines for this.
Don't get mad at us.
Yeah, if you already got it, then cool. I would not go out and specifically get Amazon Prime. You might discover perks after that, but don't get it just for this.
You know what? Just buy a bootleg of it at the barbershop.
Yeah.